So Linda, thank you for thinking I could be the first speaker at the very chairman's dinner. I really appreciate it. And thank you to the ladies that thought, since it's the first Love Life event, that I can come and say a few words. The nice thing about is that Love Life didn't give me a key, neither did they give me an address to deliver. So they gave me a blank check so I can say what I like. And you guys are subjected to listen to me for 40 minutes. So we'll make it 2 hours. So start worrying about, because I have a blank check so I can say what I like. So now that I have a blank check, good evening, let me greet and observe the protocols that the program director has laid out and not try to remember what she said. Let me just observe them and say good evening, ladies. So if you thought I was going to stand here and tell you what you must go at, then you are meeting the wrong person. That's not my strength. It's not something I do for a living. I get paid to talk. You know, in my profession, when you have the podium, you can say anything you like. So I'm going to say anything I like this evening. Wow, the boy child. Let's blame it on the women. Yes. They carried them for 9 months. They gave birth to them. Half the time they raised them as single, actually 80% they raised them as single mothers. So whatever you see on the street, it's your work, ladies. Your work, own it, take credit for it. What have you done to the poor boys? That's the first question we must ask. What have we done to the boys? Because we can't go and have these boys, their fathers decided to be bumped by the train or disappear on the air, or maybe we went to the sperm bank and bought some sperms to make ourselves pregnant. So here's this precious cargo. What have we done to them? Why are we even wanting to repair them? Please, Linda, I don't want the strong part, you know, the power of language. Don't raise strong boys. That is exactly why we are standing here, because of the strong part. So lose that part. Ne? Everything else I support, but the strong part I don't agree with. It got us where we are here. If it wasn't for the strong story, we wouldn't be sitting here, and we wouldn't be having the crisis we are having. Because truth be told, every broken boy, the woman has played a role. But because it is easy to point at somebody else, we do that. Yeah, it's the father that was absent, but damn man, the man was never there, so what's the problem exactly? He was never there. So what more damage could he have caused? It's about what you said to the poor boy that makes him to grow up and look for a man that was never there for them. What did you say? We must understand as women the power of the tongue, the power of the language, the power of the choices of words we use to communicate. Anything. It doesn't matter what it is, but language has power. And those that said, what you say you can't take back, they meant it. Because that is what, even if you try to forget it, it goes into your unsubconscious mind and it stays there. So what do we do as women? We prescribe for our boys who they will have sex with. I don't want that fat girl. I don't want Leandro Mazana Mazbanban. Isn't it, ladies? Huh? Isn't it, ladies?
Yes.
I mean, I don't have boys. I have my stepson, 3 girls. But in the work that I am, I have the privilege of having access to these things, but also having access to the boys that are broken at the department I happen to lead, to co-lead with the minister, have to be put together. That's our job. So we put them together every day when you guys are finished with them. So, when the boy is small, like she said, don't cry. Oh, Mama Bangshapile. Hey, go back and fight! Introducing and saying to the child, we resolve our issues with violence. My father used to say, and we look at this man like, how you want to abuse us, man? So, the power of language that women use, the choice of words that we use, contributes to where we are today. I don't want to go into the socialization aspect because that's been overstated. But I want to say that in the department and in the space that I am, I get to witness a lot of things. I get to see, hear, and listen to a lot of things. And instead of telling a long story, I'm going to take you on a journey. And you can decide which of the characters you are in the story. Take a peek. The boys come home. Let's say they want to start at 5, but we start with them at social development when they are 10 days old. That's the day that you drop them off at the ECD. That's when they are introduced into our lives as a department, because we are the custodians of early childhood development centers. So we get to meet your children at 10. So we also contribute to the damage that the children are. So you're not solely to be blamed. But because you are women, actually, you have to take the blame, because in our early childhood development centers, it's women that work there. These creches are established mainly by women. It's very, very few ECDs that are established by men. They are there, but they are so few. But even if the man establishes the ECD, it is the women that are the caregivers that raise those children from 10 days old. And we part with them when they turn 5, when we give them over to basic education for grade R. But my darling, at that time, the damage is already done. That's how bad it is. So if you thought you'll start at 5, actually you might want to start at 2, because by 3 they are already drug addicts. Yes, we run drug rehabilitation centers in this country. They are our department's responsibility. And since I came in office, I built 2 centers that I had to fight for with Treasury, just focusing on children. And the youngest addict we've admitted is 3 years old. And they didn't meet the drugs in the street. Don't get it wrong. They met it at home. Because everybody at home is a user. So, when whoever, whether it's the father or the mother, needs to feed the child, they just say, Ahman, take a smoke. That's the youngest. So, if you thought you would start at 5, my darling, the damage is very done already. Blame it on women. The men are never there anyway. And then you have women that are carrying the precious cargo, looking forward to be mothers. But they don't drink a sape, man. A sape, as they would say in Afrikaans. Women are drinking and abusing alcohol, and it's not funny anymore. And in their drunken state, they do all sorts of funny things that they won't even remember tomorrow. And the sad part for us in the department is half the time it is the boy child that must put together the drunk mother. She makes it from the drive to the tavern into the garage, and the boy child has to drag and hold the mother that she adores and he adores and loves so much into her bed. And tomorrow the same man must say, "How are you, mommy?" And then when they are pregnant, they drink also. And then they get disabled children. They say, God doesn't love me. The person was drinking. They forgot that they were making their own child drunk. And when the child is born drunk, the person is surprised like somebody else. That's women. I'm going to talk about women only tonight because it's about women tonight. So I want us to reflect on our life journey and the contribution we make in the social structural drivers in this country. Because it's very easy for us to blame all the men for all the things, but we actually never take a moment to look at ourselves and say, but actually, what have I contributed to this country for it to be where it is? The one day we asked children in one ECD that I visited to draw their mothers. So they draw the faces. We said, for those that have mothers, and mother, we don't mean the one that gave birth to you, but we need auntie, whoever you call a mother. Whether mama was next door, whether mama was an orphanage, it doesn't matter. And one child cried so painfully. So I walked over and I said, baby, what is the problem? I don't know how to draw my mommy's eyelashes because they move every day. That is how little things affect children and scar them. This child cried bitterly because her mother's eyelashes moves every day. So it sounds so small, but that child was 4. And that has affected that child to the point that the child can't even identify her mother. That small eyelashes, today we draw a lot, tomorrow we draw a lot, because we are shading. That is what we deal with. So when we are done with them, ladies, we still have to deal with them. But we also spend a lot of money and time talking about teenage girls as teenage mothers. But we never talk about teenage fathers who half the time are denied the opportunity to bond with their children. Not even to see them half the time. Because the grandmother, which is us, becomes this horrible grandmother from hell who does not like umfana wakasbanibani, or who's ready to blame the boy for everything. But what is more painful, it is how easy it is for us women to go and beat up the girls that our husbands sleep with and not beat up the ones we sleep with. And half the time we do that in front of the boys who are witnessing that, oh, so if violence resolves problems. So if a girl gives you problems, faka impamanyana 1, 2, you'll put her in line. Because umamakaSbanibani wenzile anyway. That's us. And that's what we do. We become the amazing mothers. We shuttle these boys from one football match to the drama at school to wherever it is that mothers are supposed to take them. But in that car, we play the music so loud that the conversation can't even happen. And the only time we talk is when we use that voice of authority. Puma! Zokushiya! Akona puma ke tlo siya, ko stay. So the child grows up saying, in life, you can't speak softly. You have to have that horrible voice, because we tend to think that gender-based violence, it's about the physical beating. There's 8 different forms of violence. We come home, we want to deal with the issues of the boys, but as women, we've allowed the SABC to show our children crap, making Kunzi the role model, and we are surprised. I can't remember women as mothers marching to the SABC and say, enough of this rubbish. I don't even want to talk about multi-choice or MNet, that's even worse. To have the queen that makes drugs fashionable, and we sit with our children to watch that nonsense. But what upsets me more than anything, ladies, is the stupid PlayStation games that we buy that are addictive and damaging our children for life. And who goes shopping? It's us. We buy the PlayStation games where you can shoot people and kill them, where you can plunge them with a stick. And then those images, children internalize and they want to try it out. And then we are surprised. But we went into the PlayStation shop and bought those stupid games in the first place. With our hard-earned cash, sometimes with the plastic money we don't even have, credit card, swap. The one time I gave myself a task and I pulled a chair at Toys R Us for a day, self-employed. And I looked at the type of choice of toys women made. I sat there at the till and I was just, they buy knives, they buy guns, they buy all the toys that are not necessarily assisting the child with anything. And when the boy wants the doll, the mother blows the casket. Nonsense! Because we're trying to spam, man. You must get stunya. King popo. Employ yourself at these toy shops just for one day. We'll come back, Linda, and redesign your whole boys' campaign. Because until we get it right with women, we are not going to get the boys' programs. Because remember, you have them for a moment. The women have them for a lifetime. So if you think the 20 minutes or 3 hours you're going to have with them at a workshop, they go to the same family, back to the same woman who's going to undo in one day everything you taught them at the workshop. So we must decide and make difficult and painful choices. Do we invest money in the women that scar our boys? Or do we invest in the boys for a moment? Don't ask me, I don't know. Because I can't make neither of the choices. But what I know is that we will never have the financial resources to do both. So at some stage, we will have to make the choice. But actually, if you look deeper, we don't have to. Because we have social clubs, we have Stokvels, we have girls' nights out, we have all these things where the girls meet. And like we expect the men to do, we need to change the conversations that we are having when we spend time together. Instead of spending time talking about the fancy hairstyle, the beautiful nails, the collection of shoes, the handbag, maybe we should spend time saying, how is your boy doing? Because we expect the men to stop talking about their cell phones, their cars, and all the useless things. We want them to start talking about them stopping to abuse us, them stopping to kill us, them stopping to make us their doormats. So in the same energy as women, let's change the conversations. That is not our strength, ladies, is it? No? Because women have a problem of class and status. It is in our unsubconscious mind. We run the juvenile prisons and the centers for children in conflict with the law. So from time to time, as the Deputy Minister, I visit to just spend time with children. And this one boy, I said to him, he was 14, "Okay, son, why are you here?" And his response was, "I hate my mother." I said, "Son, that is a very strong choice." I said, "No, I hate her because she got me here." So I pulled a chair and I said, "Okay, how?" He says, "You see, my mother is very selfish. Very, very." So the voice goes up and you can see the hate and the rage in this child's eyes as they talk about the carer, the primary caregiver. And I said, "Okay, do you want to talk about it?" He said, "Yes. My mother sent me to a private school when she knew very well she can't even afford it. Because her friends' children were going there. I had to wake up at 4 o'clock to get into a kumbi that passes 17 schools before I get to my school. And all she budgeted for was the school fees. I had to take Mautwana le Papa for Skaftin, while the rich children were being dropped off by limousines and whatever. And I had to wait for Kumbi and Tate Mamang to pick me up at the gate of the school. Because it made her look good. It made her fit in. And she convinced me every day that it's for my own good. So I decided, rather than sitting and looking at children who humiliate me every day when I have to open my skaftini with cabbage and have other children bring me their fancy sandwiches, I felt like I'm this added burden, that I'm disgusted. They are rich people's dinner tables. And Malume Wakumbi saw my pain. Every day he picked me up from school and dropped me off and said, son, here's some drugs. For you to afford the coke, sell it to these ones. And I'm here, Deputy Minister, as a trafficker of drugs because of my mother and her selfishness. How many of us do that? How many of us do that? We never trust our children. They have their first friend, that's a girl. The voice goes like, so we introduce the sex topic in the relationship. And maybe that young girl is the most positive thing that would happen to your son. But the first thing, it's that voice I spoke about, of authority, that we use. Because when boys get friends that are girls, the first thing that comes to a parent's mind is sex. And only to find that that girl was going to be the best thing that happened to your son. But you took that away because of your parenting style. We know there's no book, eh? Parenting, there's no parenting 101. These children come in different recipes. Not even one works. We know that, right? Because as a department, we have to implement positive parenting programs. Because when a girl under the age of 18 gives birth to a child, by the way, children give birth from the age of 10 in this country. Just so you know. And that 10-year-old is a child who wants to go and play. But they have this added responsibility. They are a mother now. So you have two children, but the other one must now be the parent. So what do you think is going to happen to that boy that was given birth to by that 12-year-old? By the time they turn 15, they tell you what they think of you. I futhi grant science easier, complicates families more, but they fight over the money. So, all I'm trying to say is, when you forget everything else I've said, when we want to design programs for boys, we never should actually look away from the impact and the power women has. And what are we going to do with the women? And what role are they going to play in these boys' programs? Because when all is said and done, they are likely to go back to their mothers because their fathers are just not there. And when they are there, they become friends with the newspaper and their cell phones these days. Because hey, Silobarake, what's up? Jehovah. The one time, there was this video that was making rounds of this 3-year-old boy that was kissing this 3-year-old girl. So it finally got to my phone, and then I said, I want to know who these children are. Yo, azanka basadi bampalame so. Parelo re business ya hao ke. O cha o tsholang deputy minister le pallwa ke mmuso o tlo botsa hore ke bana ba bo mama. There was women who posted on my page when I put the kids and I said, whose children are these? Can anyone identify these children? Yes, Bantoda basadi ba South Africa. And all I posted, I let them post and be angry, and at the end I said, the same boy in the next 3 years will be expelled from their first school for touching a girl inappropriately. That was after 300 posts of women insulting me and telling me that they see nothing wrong with a 3-year-old deep kissing a 3-year-old girl. And all I put, after the insult, I just said, the same boy who's 3, by the time they are 6, they will be expelled from their first school. All we want is to intervene now and walk the journey with this boy, with this child, so that they have a proper and appropriate relationship with girls. To stop beating us up, to stop killing us, and for those to stop sleeping with our girls. And we're going to do that together with the men, because we feel that we also need dads in the picture. And not the dads that donated the sperms and disappeared, but the fathers that the boys identify with as fathers. We run dialogues every day. My 22-year-old walked into the house the other day and slammed the door. I'm like, yeah, lady, this is my house. What's up? Why are you killing my dog? I don't think I'm going to have a boyfriend, you know? These men are so useless. I'm like, oh, okay, so where does that come from? Just because I have my own apartment and my own car, I just can't get a boyfriend. I'm like, oh, okay, were you out hunting for one? Or how can I help? I was just saying, Mommy, anyway, I have bigger dreams than these useless people. I'm like, okay, don't worry, girl. Keep looking. You've not met men yet, you've met boys. So let the boys pass, the men will come along that you are looking for, okay? It's like, yeah. Oh, do you want me to help? Look, should I make any recommendations or maybe take you along to spaces where you'll meet men? She's like, that wouldn't be such a bad idea, actually. So maybe I should tag along, you know, to your spaces so I can meet real men. I'm like, yeah, that should be arranged, but I want my honors first. Now that I have my junior degree, deliver my honors, then we have something to talk about. It's like, count it in the bag, girl. And Asoma give you the masters as a bachelor. I'm like, oh. So yeah, I'll give you the masters before I'm 25, so just start celebrating now. And then after 25, you'll go help me find a man. I'm like, yeah, deal. Let's shake on it like true gentlemen. And we shaked on it and we said, okay, so how are we toasting this amazing agreement, which I will hold you accountable until you're 25, I assume. You'll be a virgin until then, right? She's like, isn't that pushing it a little too far? Like, but you said their men are useless, so I was just sealing the deal, like, don't let them touch you until you get the real one. It's like, no, deal, we can shake on it, like, okay. Girl, deal. So, I have my masters when you're 25. What else must we, and then you'll be like, I'll meet my end of the bargain, lady, but you must meet yours. I'm like, okay, what is the deal on my side? The deal is that I must tag along, even if when you go overseas, so start calculating how much, because you promised I must meet real men. So it means you must take me along to your spaces so that I stop meeting boys, so that I can meet men, and maybe I can have a future husband. So please, ladies, make sure our girls will have husbands. Husbands that respect them, adores them, worships them, supports them. And I know when we take the challenge and we say enough, it happens. So I still have hope and faith that as a nation we will rise to the occasion. I love the advert, Yanandus, when we put our shit together. We are a prospering nation. I have faith in women. That as we hold the mirror up to ourselves, we understand the little things we do and contribute to where we are. We have the ability to change and make that positive impact. And if there is people that can change and change the status quo, it's us. But unless the mirror is held, and that somebody continue to remind us of the little things we do or don't do, then there is no hope for this country. Good evening, ladies.